Hi guys, it's 26Bond's going mad with a death metal special today. Well, I've got a few today's loads and loads of records in the collection and new stuff, older stuff, but back on the death metal tip, which is exciting for me because I've not done one for probably about a week. So I want to show you something I got today. This is Shite Fun, or Shit Fun, by Autopsy. Very nice album. I was going to say something funny there, but didn't bother. This is Autopsy's, let me think, fourth full-length LP, released in '95, I think. This one was it '95? Yeah, it was. God, long time ago. It's only 20 years ago. God. This is the 2012 reissue from Peaceville, which literally I've just got today. So that's the track listing on the back. Really moving on from Acts of the Unspeakable with the shorter songs and the more sort of depraved lyrical content. It includes the lyrics, this one, on the inner sleeve. There's loads of songs on this one. There's 21 tracks, so it's good bang for the buck. It's on black vinyl with a standard sort of label there, and on the original CD it had like a famous photo collage, bits and bobs, which they normally did on their vinyl albums. Certainly the first two. So that's a small part of it there. Sonically, it sounds great. I've had a little play of it already today. Not all of it, but I've played most of it. So yeah, I quite like it. I was never a huge fan when it was originally released, this album. It sort of passed me by a bit, but I'm glad to have it actually on vinyl now, where you can sort of sit a bit more with vinyl albums and sort of dissect them and digest them a bit more as well. With CDs it's so easy to sort of put them in the car and drive around and not really pay attention to them when they're playing, but there you go, there's this one here. So it's recommended if you like Acts of the Unspeakable. I recommend this one. Musically it's great. Chris Reifert sounds pretty cool on this album, very good vocals. Lyrics, probably among the sickest that they ever came up with, so if you like sick lyrics, sick album cover art, pick it up. It's about £14 from Burning Shed, which is Peaceville's mail order for vinyl. I finally managed to get an original OG copy of Dismember's Like an Ever-Flowing Stream. Look at that lovely Seagrave cover, eh? Whoa, it's absolute. Is that a Seagrave cover? I'm pretty sure it was a Seagrave cover, this one. Yeah, it certainly looks like one. I always assumed it was. Yeah, it must be. Quality Swedish death metal album on Nuclear Blast. There you go, with that famous back cover of the band bathed in blood. The original inner sleeve is intact. Another photograph of the band there. And there you go. Lyrics, another cool photo of the band. And once again, really good pressing. This is on Nuclear Blast. This is the first press, as I say, from 1991. So it's got a nice orange to go with the logo on the front cover, the orange Dismember logo. It's a classic Swedish death metal LP. Some members of this band used to be in Carnage, which was the band that Michael Amott was in before he went to join Carcass just after Symphonies of Sickness was released on second guitar. And really, this and Left Hand Path, if you only buy two Swedish death metal LPs, get this one and get Entombed, because these really say it all in 10 tracks, really. So really pleased to get that. I've not spun it yet. Vinyl looks to be in great condition. Really happy to get this one finally into my collection, because I do have it on CD and I love it, so I wanted to pick this up on vinyl. Can become quite an expensive one to get, this one. Easily goes for about 40 quid. They do a reissue back on Black Records, but they're alright. They aren't anything special. I'd pick some of those up for Record Store Day, and they are what they are. They're cheap copies, basically, of the OG. So here you go, Dismember, Like an Ever-Flowing Stream. Really happy to get that one. Earache are continuing their FDR releases with this one, Descanting the Insalubrious by Carcass, their third studio album. Once again released on lots of gamut of crazy covers. This one is on, I always save the sticker, so this one's on Pedigree Butchery Blue. The actual record is very, very faithful to the original vinyl copy. The inner sleeve's a bit different though. It's got a nice sturdy cardboard thick inner sleeve with the lyrics and liner notes on. And I'll just show you the vinyl, which is quite a nice blue, this one, a royal blue. You think it goes nice with my eyes? I do. There you go. So there isn't really much to say about this. You probably all own this on CD or vinyl. I mean, if you don't, this is probably, if you're looking at the first three Carcass albums, Symphonies of Sickness the second one, Eureka Putrefaction the first, this is probably the most accessible. If you're sort of coming from more of a death metal, less of a grindcore sort of bass, maybe start with this one, then go on to Symphonies. Reek might be a little bit blah for you. And obviously the album they did after this, Heartwork, was even more melodic. This is like a nice bridge between sort of Symphonies and that. So it's a classic album. Pick it up. They did tone down their lyrics a little on this one. They got a little bit more, I call it romantic gore. They sort of hid true meaning behind long words, if you know what I'm saying. So pick it up if you like Carcass. It's a good pressing, sounds great, as all the FDR releases from Earache currently do. Cool. Just listening, you might be hearing it in the background, hopefully you are. This is Blessed Are the Sick by Morbid Angel. Once again, an original pressing. And it's a brilliant record. I might have to turn it over in a minute though, so please bear with me. This is an original EP from Massacre. Obviously Cam Lee on vocals, Rick Ross on guitar, Steve Swanson on guitar, Terry Butler and Bill Andrews on bass and drums respectively. Famous for its Ed Repka cover, who did a lot of metal albums and does a lot of metal albums still. Famous for his Megadeth artwork in particular, Merciless Death, people like that. This is an original pressing from 1992. Famous really for its Venom cover of Warhead. It's a 4-tracker, Inhuman Condition, Planes of Insanity, Warhead and Provoked a Cursor. I'll show you the vinyl. It's quite interesting because it's a bit of a homage to Venom. Nice picture of Kronos there, who's waiting in line to get his school dinner. I think he's towards the back. It plays really nice, this one. Brilliant condition. Picked this up nice and cheap from a local record store. I think this one, yeah. So it's one I'd never owned on vinyl before. I had it on dub tape. It was dubbed for me, I believe, by Matt Witchclan. DJ M Bass, or it used to be DJ M Bass. I think it's called Witchclan Horde on here now. So, alright Matt, hope you're enjoying the video. Oh, by the way, thanks for the Baphomet. I should get that soon, and I hope you like the Entombed. Cool. The next thing I want to show you, wow, look, it's only bloody Secular Haze by Ghost. Look, it's real. You might be thinking, there is one thought in your head now. Yeah, but is it clear vinyl? Have you got the clear vinyl, or is it just a standard black? Well, let me show you. Oh, doubters of little faith. Did you really think that I would get a limited album? Did you really think I would just buy the one that everyone wants to have? Of course I got the one that isn't quite so limited, you fools. This is the black vinyl copy, because I'm so cold, I don't want only the 300 or 200 pressed on clear. I prefer something which is cheaper. So this is the black version here. It's a two-tracker, 45 RPM. I bought this for 20 quid on eBay. A guy had it imported from CD-ON. I think it was CD-ON in Sweden. It was a Swedish-only release, and I think he had a couple. This one got slightly damaged in transit, so I bought it knowing it had a slight You see it, slight seam split. I'm okay with that. This would have been a lot more money had it not had that. So I was thinking, well, am I going to spend nearly 80 quid on this, or am I going to get a cheap one that's got a slight problem? Plays brilliantly. You wouldn't really notice unless you look for it. But I was quite happy to pick that one up. So a bit of Ghost, because I loved a bit of Ghost. Incidentally, if you've ever seen a Ghost, you can leave a comment down below and you can tell me about the experience. There you go. You're seeing one now. Whoa! This is Morgoth. This is Resurrection Absurd. If you're wondering, I'm not drunk actually. I'm doing this completely sober. I'm just in a ridiculously stupid mood. This is Resurrection Absurd. This is a little EP from Morgoth from the late 80s. Now I bet some of you weren't even born when this was released. That's how old this bloody thing is. But look at the condition though, guys. Good, isn't it? Look at that. The cover's in really, really nice nick. There you go. On the back, Mark Grew on vocals, who actually, if you're going to pick like a maybe top 3 or top 5 metal vocalists of this style, he'd got to be up there with Van Drunen, surely. He's a great growler. Notice I say he hasn't got a great growler. Right, this has got a lyric insert sheet as well. One-sided. It's German, it's deathly, it's brutal, and it's well worth picking up. You can get a reissue, a repress of this too. You can get it on, if you get it from emponline.co.uk or emponline.com. I think it's got some bonus tracks on it as well. It might have the Eternal full EP on it as well. I'm not sure, but it could be worth checking if you don't want to pay original prices. You're happy with the reissue, it might be an idea to get that. This didn't cost me a lot of money. This was about 20 quid, and for its condition, it's great. It's on Century Media Records, this one, and it's just fantastic. Well impressed with this. Like the Eternal Fall, you'll like Resurrection Absurd. It's great death metal, very brutal, very down-tuned, shuggy. It's great. Now this is not, sadly isn't the original copy of this black metal masterpiece. This is Necromantia, Crossing the Fiery Path, which was originally released on Osmose Records, which were a French label specialising in avant-garde music and black metal. From, I think, 93 this was originally released, I'm pretty sure it was. And this was reissued in 2005 on black vinyl. This is another repress from Osmose themselves. But it's on a lovely blue splatter. Do you want to see it? So it's got a nice sturdy inner. Now these guys don't use guitars. Well, they don't use 6-string guitars. They use bass guitars. So it's black metal with bass and drums and vocals. Not quite nice, isn't it? The weird thing is there's no label. Which side's which? You count, don't you? You have to count the cue-up lines. Which actually, did you know why they have lines on records? Because they could just do them in one continuous block. But what they do is they have cue-up lines because DJs needed them in the old days to start records, because they didn't use DAT tapes or CDs. They always used vinyl to play tracks. So they needed cue-up lines to see where to start the song. Okay, you learn something every day. But no, this is a very good sounding record. It's very cold. As I say, they only use bass guitars, so it's got quite a different sound to it. It's full of atmosphere. Great Greek black metal. Well worth getting hold of if you can pick up a copy of this. Can be quite hard to get now. This was a limited release on the blue splatter vinyl. It does occasionally pop up on eBay. There might be some on Discogs, but you might have to pay about 50 quid for that. But if you can get it, it's packed full of black atmosphere, tales of Dracula, etc. So just great black metal. More black metal for you guys. This is Immortal, All Shall Fail. This is a limited vinyl release. This is number 1777. It's great. It's got a gatefold, but it's a bit of a faff with that sash on the front to open it up. So I won't show you that. I'll leave it as a surprise if you decide to pick this one up. But I like this band. Their newer stuff is a lot more polished. It's a lot more thrashy, if you ask me. But it's got that black tinge to it as well. This is a good album. in my opinion, it's not as good as Sons of Northern Darkness, but it's not far off. This is 180 gram vinyl, limited, as I say. This is number 1777. They're a good band. Some bands are brutal, some bands are fast. This band has songs. You can actually hum them. You actually remember them when you finish playing them, which is a mark of a great band in my opinion. So this is a great package. So I'm not going to show you inside the gatefold because, as I say, it's a huge faff getting it out and taking the sash off. But get it. If you can get one, just don't go for a huge amount of money and look great. So Immortal, legendary black metal band, well worth listening to. Another legendary black metal band, well worth listening to. This is part of Century Media's reissue series, their Death Certificate reissue series. This is Dark Endless by Sweden's Marduk. Lovely, lovely record, this one. It just looks great. Very good packaging. I love packaging on records. It makes me happy. This is the vinyl. It's very heavy vinyl. It almost feels heavier than 180G. I'm not sure if it is, but I think it's 180G. But there you go. Very, very nice sound on this one. It's I bought this one brand new. This is a relatively recent reissue. So I was the first owner of this one. It comes with a nice booklet, really. So on the front you've got a facsimile of the front cover. On the back you've got some early photographs of the Marduk lads. And in the middle we've got a very cult looking lyric sheet with an old picture. I think I've got to turn this record over now. Let me do that quickly. Hope you're all not getting bored over there. Okay, that's done. So yeah, it's on black vinyl. You can get this one on clear vinyl as well, but it's a very, very faithful package when you compare it to the original release. Ooh, and something else in here as well. You also get this, which is from Century Media Distro, so it's more coloured vinyl and stuff like that from the catalogue. So yeah, it's a great record. Love to listen to that. So I'd never heard that one before. Marduk's sort of first time round passed me by a bit. I'm definitely very, very keen to get hold of more of their stuff now. I've got the bug, so to speak. So yeah, once again, black vinyl, or you can pick that up on clear vinyl as well. So Dark Endless by Marduk. Some great song titles on here, such as The Funerals Seem to Be Endless. Can't get more black than that, really, can you? Pro Fanatica. This is their compilation. This is a die-hard copy from Hell's Headbangers. This is number 22 of 300. Now, if you're into black metal, there you go. It's got all their... It's basically tracks from the old demo tapes, the old EPs, the old splits, the old 7-inch singles. So it's a pretty nice package, this one. The vinyl's sweet as well. Some of the sounds are a bit dodgy because of the source material used. So it's black with like a bit of splatter. That's side 1 and 2. These guys have been going for a long time, started by Paul Ledney, who used to be an original version of Incantation, but he left that because they wanted to continue more death metal, whereas he wanted to go unholy black metal. And they're an American band, and they're pretty much about as blasphemous as you will find. This is quite strong shit, actually. I mean, if you're of a Christian background, you might find some of the stuff here, even if you're very liberal-minded, like me, a little bit of a surprise, really. Because some of it is pretty strong stuff. Musically, it's very much like Von. It's very rhythmic. It's very almost droney and ambient in places. You get a poster, and you also get a little booklet. This is the first press. The second press came with printed inner sleeves and not the booklet. So I got the booklet, which basically takes interviews from various fanzines around 1992, where the bands say all sorts of outrageous things. But no, musically I like them. You just got to make sure that your granny isn't around when you play it, because you probably won't be getting any angel cake, and you certainly won't be getting any Tizer. That is for sure. That is an absolute given. You just won't have any Tizer. So there you go, Profanatica, the enemy of virtue. If you want to get their stuff in one easy to find package without having to pay a fortune, I recommend it. And you don't have to buy the Die Hard version. You can get this on CD and regular vinyl too. Job's a good one. Moving on to something completely different, something along the lines of Cynic and Watchtower and bands like that. This is Atheist. This is their first release after Roger Patterson, their original bass player, was tragically killed. This is Unquestionable Presence, and if you like your death metal jazzy and certainly not traditional, this is maybe the album for you. A lot of you will have got this one and owned it for years. This is a real classic of the techno death metal genre. This is an original copy. If you notice on the photographs they get everyone's name wrong, which is interesting. Once again, like the debut Peace of Mind, this is on Active Records. It includes the lyric sheet. It's got the Active label, the blue Active label. It's in brilliant nick, this one. The sleeve has a few marks and things like that. The vinyl, sadly, certainly I should say, does not. And the inner sleeve's pretty clean as well for a white one, because white ones always get jacked up pretty quickly. So what can I say about this? This album, if you're used to Peace of Mind, it continues along those lines, but goes even proggier in places, and certainly jazzier in places. It might take a few listens to get into the songs, because there's a lot going on. There's a lot of riffs, a lot of time changes. But sometimes I find the best records are the ones that aren't as immediate on first play. Sometimes when you hear an album, it's like, oh, I really, really like that. It's almost like it's shot its bolt too soon. It almost needs to grow on you, and this is a growing album. So if you play it once and you aren't sure of it, don't be despondent. Play it again and engross yourself in some fantastic prog, jazz, death metal. It's great. Pick it up. I'll save one of these records to last. It's one of my favourites, but this is a death thrashy album I picked up for about £7-8 the other day. This is Signs of Life by Devastation. These guys toured with Death on the Spiritual Healing Tour, and in fact 2 of them actually toured with Death when Chuck didn't go to Europe. This is Signs of Life by Devastation. It's a bit battered, this one, but I took a chance for £7. Now sadly it doesn't include the original lyric sleeve. So if anyone's got a spare, yeah, right, like that'll happen, can you send it to me? Because I hate records without in the sleeves. And I did check it when I bought it. Pretty good. The vocals on this one probably are the weakest thing. They're quite almost like the guys running out of air. They're not the most convincing of vocals, but they're very, very tight musically. They've got great riffs and a lot of riffs per song. And there are songs on this album. As you all know, I'm a huge fan of songwriters, as well as thrashy guitars and brutality and screaming vocals. So if you can pick this one up, if you like your thrash to the creator end of things, you could go a lot worse than picking up Devastation. There is a couple of albums. This one, I think was their debut album, I believe. This one's from I think this was from '89. This one, or '88. But no, I think this one is certainly got the most deathly cover about it anyway. So Devastation, Signs of Life, thumbs up. Now I owned this years ago, and it went. This is the original Turbo. Well, actually, it's the second pressing, but I'll come on to that in a second. This is a second pressing of Acheron's Rites of the Black Mass on Turbo Records. Great satanic death metal with some great guitar playing on it. Great solos, great songwriting again. Now, the first pressing of this was on Turbo as well, but it didn't include the intros. Now, Vincent Crowley who was the bass player and singer, was a Satanist essentially, and I think he was a member, or he was in communication with this guy who's called Peter H. Gilmore, who's now passed away. He was one of the high priests, I think, of the Church of Satan. So they asked him to do lots of black mass intros with sort of whirly keyboards and things, and it really adds a lot to the album in terms of its atmosphere. The first press, I think it must have been an error, forgot to put them on. So the second press really is always the one you want to get. That's the inner sleeve with all of the lyrics, so it's only one-sided. It's on black vinyl, and it's just a brilliant record. This reminds me a lot of my childhood, this album. Every song's great, and it's just got a real evil, kitschy, death metal atmosphere, and it just can't be beat. So if you get a chance, if you want to check this out, if you're thinking of getting it, obviously look on Discogs and buy the vinyl if you can. Remember what I said about the first and second pressings with the intros, but check these guys out on YouTube, listen to it. It's almost like a sort of more sort of Venom version of Deicide, if you know what I mean, a little bit simpler playing. So if you like your death metal with a black tinge, but also played a little bit more simple riffs, pick this one up. I hope you've enjoyed the video today, guys. I've certainly enjoyed showing you them. More death metal on its way. I hope everyone's well. Take care.